like the notes that I have for that are very sparse.
What does it say?
Surrogate baby DNA foods. Oops. I had an interesting thought, and I don't know like how far down this rabbit hole you want to go, but it was a what if scenario that was brought up to me, actually by Aurelia, and I wanted to see what you would add, and it might get a little political, and that's why I'm a little hesitant, but it also might be kind of fun to see what each other's ideas would be. If you could not change, but if you could add one sentence to the Constitution, what would it be?
Oh man, you're barking up the wrong tree. I have no idea.
Oh, really?
Oh man, I like super duper no idea.
I mean,
what would you add? Let's start
Okay.
there.
Like it is tough because like looking at the current political climate, like what could you add way back then that would hopefully fix all of the things that are a huge blemish on American history, right? Because, for example, all men are created equal. Okay, well, let's maybe if we were to add an addendum to say we're including women and we're including, every humanoid of like it gets really into the weeds, and then it doesn't become such a cool document anymore. It just becomes kind of a laundry list of things, and
Right.
it loses its luster. I really feel like the whole point of that document was really to settle to essentially set up how the Americas, or how the United States were going to be different from the monarchy, and unfortunately, a lot of the things that we had quote unquote created were very much inspired by a monarchist kind of reign, because that's all that they knew at that time.
Right.
They didn't really know that much different. What I would do is, completely like remove any kind of connection to God in that Constitution. And I know that's very controversial. And I think people that have listened to this podcast know where I stand on a higher deity. But and this is a conversation that is talked about in school, like the separation of church and state. But I feel like we should start there. Just kind of.
I do know that there is like a bunch of like literature and presidents in the past that have said like the involvement of church in politics is bad and should be frowned upon, that kind of thing. Check it, I can kind of understand, but yeah, it's
it's tough.
It's a very tough thing to like jump into, especially back then. And then but that's hard. Yeah, I'm all for like religious freedom.
Sure.
But I'm also for like, that's so hard.
Right? It's such a fine
conversation.
line.
That's
it's
such
a fine line.
Deep conversation.
I really feel like if
what did she end up with?
Well, that's the thing. If it was actually it was a prompt that we gave to her son in order for us to unlock his computer, and his response was very much of a 13-year-old, and I might have to bleep out one of the things. But
Ham fried rice Thursdays.
Right. It was something like that. It was slide fast, smoke grass, and eat ass. And it was in his, not defense, but in his explanation, it was those three things that really culminated in this meme of how you should live your life. Not necessarily those three things only, but the idea of just go have fun. It's kind of an anarchist kind of viewpoint. Just go have fun and don't do any harm to anybody else. Just enjoy life. And I like that kind of output. I like that kind of viewpoint because we get really bogged down with the nitty gritty. I mean, you and I were just getting bogged down with all like the tiny nitty gritty things because we want to make sure we're not offending a certain group, that we're not leaving out a certain group. We want to make sure all those things. And the problem is when we get into the minuscule things that are like plagued in our current climate, we forget that life is short and we need to, just maybe not pay so much close attention to all the tiny things, but just really, really kind of focus on the golden rule of let's be friends, let's be cool with each other, and let's go hang out. You don't have to do drugs. You don't have to go kill anybody.
That's literally what I was kind of thinking, was like maybe something along the lines of like love thy neighbor, because I feel like we have a large society that's mainly focused around like what's in it for me and how does this affect me, and like me, and it's like, okay, but like let's try to think let's think a little grander scale than your immediate house. I mean, I'm not saying like let's take things from you, but let's try to think a little bigger, just a little.
No,
so,
I mean,
yeah, that would be something along those lines would be my knee-jerk reaction, but that's a tough one. That's a tough what if.
Yeah, but it was definitely interesting to see it from a 13-year-old's perspective, because while he's very aware of like what's going on right now, at least for him, I would argue he's like an everyday 13-year-old, whereas like a very bookwormy kind of 13-year-old would know the ramifications of this prompt, because in my initial knee-jerk reaction, he did not answer the prompt. He was just writing something so he could get back online to play Rust with his friends. That was my knee-jerk reaction. But the more like I thought about it, and the more I read his explanation as to why he chose that, I feel like it was a very earnest. Yeah, let's stop with all these like infighting. Let's stop with all this, all like the things that feel like they really, really matter, but at the end of the day, they really don't, because we all bleed red and we're all gonna die soon. So none of this really matters. And let's just go have fun. I mean, yes, we have to be responsible and do the adulting things from time to time, sure. But like when everything is all said and done, just go hang out and, like you said, love thy neighbor. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not doing anything detrimental to your health or to anybody else that could hurt their like respective families, then as long as you're not doing that, then I would say, yeah, go forth, my son.
You do you, boo boo.
Do you boo boo? Exactly our point. You get it.
So we are like a little I don't know even know what to call it. A little life change has happened. We are being surrogate parents to a cat. I don't know.
Really?
He's a year old. So
when did this happen?
Like a week ago? Less than a week ago. Man, it all happened so fast. It was like Friday. No, yeah, Friday sounds right. Yeah, it's yeah. So a little less than a week ago, we're for one of our mutual friends. We're watching his cat for a while he moves and gets a new place and everything. So we have him for the foreseeable future. So instead of being like fur babies and fur parents, we are surrogate fur baby parents.
Still hate you. If you're listening right now and you're like, why did Tony say that? You have to listen to the last podcast to kind of get that joke. Not a joke. It's really a joke. So do you have him like with you like right now? Are you like, is he in reachable view for us to go, oh, the kitty? And then all the people that are listening to this podcast, like audio wise, are like, oh, I gotta go find the video on YouTube, or I should watch them on Twitch when they record live. Like,
I mean, I can grab him. He's like there. Give me a sec.
sure, yeah, why not? Let's do this. This is exciting. We're gonna see a cat right meow. While Mr. Quinnton grabs him, do want to thank the sponsors of this show, Raid Shadow Legends. Oh, the kitty! Oh my God, the cat! Hello, tiny cat.
I also found my glasses.
You found
More importantly, I found my glasses.
Was the cat wearing the glasses?
Look, it's a cat.
What's the cat's name?
Warehouse.
Warehouse. Whose house? Warehouse. Whose house? Warehouse.
There you go. Right there.
Your wife has got to be super ecstatic.
Losing it?
Yeah. That's a nice way to put it.
Yes, losing it would be a nice way to put it. She's so happy.
I was hanging out in bed with my daughter and Aurelia yesterday. I want to say like 8 in the morning. No, it was even earlier than that. It was 7 in the morning. Anyways, I was scrolling through my phone and then a Snapchat comes up, and I think it was your wife, Maddie, and she took a picture of a cat, and I forget what it said, but my first thought was, wow, she's over at our other mutual friend's house really early in the morning. They also have a cat. And this is how much I don't really cling to cats. I don't remember what color the other cat is. Like, so when I saw the cat, I immediately thought, oh, it's the other cat. She's over at she's over at the group house, the clubhouse or whatever, extremely early. Oh, well, that's cool. No big deal. But it seems as though she was nowhere. She was home, and she was with Warehouse hanging out. And
Yep.
That's cool. So you have been kind of against getting a cat for a while. So what happened?
Everyone says that. Well, for one, we don't have a cat. We're just watching a cat for a minute. Everyone says I was against getting a cat. I've never been against getting a cat. I want to make that very clear. I've never been against getting a cat. What I've been against is like the impulse decision of getting a cat. I personally think getting a pet should be like, especially something like a cat. Maybe a fish can be. I can see a fish being a impulse pet, right?
Yeah,
it's not a big deal. Whatever. A cat, on the other hand, like, or a dog, or for something that matter. Oh, we're gonna go. We're leaving. Okay, bye. Something like that, I feel like needs to be a large decision, and every time it was brought up, it was in these scenarios where it was like, we're hanging out with friends. Oh, I really want a cat, and it's like, okay, but we never like sat down and really talked about it. So it's like, it's not gonna I'm not gonna do that until I know that like everything is gonna be in order. Everything is situated. Everything's good.
You want to be prepared to adopt a cat, foster a cat, whatever, when everything with all your ducks are laid out in a row. Like where you can say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost me per month. You know, not just for the weekend, not just for a week. This is how much it's going to cost me per month. And then when an emergency happens, we have to have this amount in the bank ready to be, on a credit card or whatever, to be able to to be ready in case of emergency, like going to the vet or something like that. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had to take one of our dogs, one of our fur babies, to the vet. Genji, actually, because he has these giant like Chihuahua-like ears, and I realized what I'm doing with my hands does not look like ears at all. But he has these giant Chihuahua-looking ears, and being outside, he got something stuck inside the ear so far down that even when we looked in with a flashlight and whatnot, we couldn't see anything. And we went, to the vet, and luckily
Right.
we had enough to be able to, pay for that visit. It wasn't a cheap visit. It wasn't super expensive, but a couple of $100.
It adds up.
It adds up, right? And luckily, we were
Do you guys have
planned for
pet
that.
insurance?
We don't have pet insurance. I don't know if the company that you and I work for even offers that. My last company did, and that was kind of cool. But we currently don't have pet insurance, so it's all out of pocket. So that's something. It's something to think about. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm glad for you because you're getting the experience to be a owner for a small time in regards to, like, you have the responsibility. So when you come home from work, that you clean out the litter box, you make sure there's water, you make sure there's, food, and you spend time with the pet. Because it's one thing that some people don't realize, people that aren't pet owners at all, is that they don't realize all the behind the scenes stuff that go on of being a pet owner. All they see is when they go to their friends' house, like, oh, I love this animal or whatever. Like, okay, bye. And then they leave. And then after that is all the BS that has to, like, upkeep. Like, especially if you have, like, a hamster or a guinea pig, you have to clean out that cage. You think the cage is not smelly? It's freaking smelly. But if you clean it out every other day as you're supposed to, it's not going to be that smelly. But that takes the extra effort. It's like doing the dishes. You have to do the dishes or else you have no dishes. So it's that level of responsibility that a lot of people don't see. So now that that part is in your life, I mean, do you feel like that's something that you can do? Like, is it good? I don't want to say burden, but is that something that you would be able to add to your everyday kind of routine?
The only thing that I really need to figure out is, like, how to manage the midnight zoomies. Because the cat likes to get the zoomies around 3 to 4 a.m. And it's kept me up a couple nights, including last night.
When you say zoomies, do you mean he gets onto Zoom video calls, or
he runs around? He runs everywhere, and he's like, play, and it's like, it's 4 a.m., dude. I will shoot you with a tranq dart. Like, stop.
What this reminds me of is when you have a real human child at 4 a.m. and they are just crying for no reason. And they want.
I know that feel, Tony. That my fur baby has got me very experienced in this. I know exactly how you feel.
Again,
with this fur baby.
This is not going to be a part 2, but it's definitely quite funny to me. No, I think the reason why a lot of us thought that you didn't want a cat was because you never really properly voiced that you wanted one, but on a more responsible level. Because when the joke of, hey, Maddie, go get a cat, and we'll call one pumpernickel and the other one sourdough. Like, she loved that because she was baking bread at the time. She loved that. She was like, oh, my God, that's so great. And we all...
Do you want to know what the name she's really, really set in right now? And I mean, like, I'm fighting her to not do.
What name is this?
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
Tammy Hot Dog.
Yeah! Yay! I'm so happy right now. I used to not like that nickname. Totally down with that nickname now. You have a little bit of me by you all the time, and
I don't want that. As much as I love you, I don't know.
I'll shed fur. I might even crap in your shoes because I love you so much.
Oh my word.
Oh,
No,
this is great.
that's a hard no. No,
You
I
have
have
made my day. That's wonderful. I'm so happy right now.
to answer your question though, I have made these concerns known to the people that matter. I have told my wife, like, hey, we need this discussion to happen. Like, we're on the same page there. It's
Okay.
just a matter of doing the thing, right?
Okay.
And just putting down the line, because everyone says, oh, it's not that expensive. Oh, it's cheap. Oh, it's cheap. Oh, it's cheap. And it's like, okay, that's great, but like, what's the actual bottom line? I'm not a person that works very well in these scenarios in non-specifics. Oh, it's fine. Oh, it's cheap. Okay, but what's cheap? Oh, it's $50 a month. Okay, that's not cheap when you really think about it. That's
Right.
$50 a month.
That adds up. I mean, in the current like climate of how much like gas is, and food is getting more expensive, and now at least here in California, we're closing up shop. We're pretty much back to stage 2, so we're gonna have to pay for a lot more deliveries or something. So there's a lot of other kind of hidden costs of living right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that extra $50 minimum, $50 minimum, you have to take into account. It's it's a tricky situation that I will argue. God, I hate going back to this original thing, but it's a tricky situation that you have the freedom to be able to say, okay, let's maybe go to a website that has like this quote unquote pet calculator, because I'm sure there is a website that does that. You say, I'm going to have a cat. And so tell me on a week to week basis, what are the expenditures of a cat? And it'll tell you, okay, well, you're going to have to get pet food. So we recommend you get the big F-off bag of pet food. Okay. Well, that's $60 a month. Okay. Not a week. No. As long as that you should be fine. Okay, I could maybe swing that. I also have income coming in from my wife or my boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever you are. We have the extra income. Okay, cool. Well, on top of that, you're gonna have to get it groomed because you don't want it to look all scraggly. Okay, how much is grooming? Well, it's this much, but it's only like every other month. All right, that's fine. Oh, and then shots. Okay, how much are shots and immunizations? Shots are this much, and you only have to do that like once. Okay, cool. Spade and neutering. Oh, crap. Yeah, that. I don't want that. Where I want that, maybe that's another conversation. But we should talk about that because I don't want my stray cats or stray dogs getting busy with my own dog, like and anything like that. There's all of that. And then the thing I had mentioned earlier, where it's the emergency funds. So the more and more I think about it, because yes, I've wanted a cat, or not a cat, but I've wanted a dog. I've wanted to be able to have a dog that I can truly call my own.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's expensive.
Yep.
And here, the beautiful part of it is that you can say, not right now.
Right.
Not right now. And I think that's the most responsible thing that you can do. Because if you bring in a cat, it's like it's like adopting a kid. If you're not fiscally responsible, first off, they're not going to let you adopt a kid. But second off, what kind of life is that kid going to live if you can't provide the basic necessities? So for a fur baby or for a cat, dog, even a guinea pig, if you can't do that for a guinea pig, clean the thing out every other day for a guinea pig, then don't bother.
Right.
Let somebody else who will have love for that guinea pig and will actually give it the time of day do that.
Agreed.
So I'm glad that you and your wife and the people that matter, apparently I'm not one of them, but the people that matter have talked about this, because last time we had talked about it, yes, we were all joking about it, and you were very vehemently, nope, but it made for a good stream while we were playing Apex. That was it was a good time. Yeah.
There you go. Keeping it positive.
That's what we do here. Positive vibes.
I have a little bit of follow-up for something.
Okay.
I think we talked about it in the podcast, but here's the thing, is we talked about it, we talked about it approximately 8 to 9 months ago.
All right.
We're talking October. So in October of 2019, on the video game Destiny, we were doing a large raid, which is a very, very long mission that is very complicated. It's got lots of moving parts, and it involves 6 real people. The fastest raid that I've ever done was about 45 minutes, with other ones extending past the 12-hour mark. Like, the thing can get a little crazy when you don't know what you're doing. So in October, I'm just going to say that we didn't talk about it, and obviously, like, because it's been so long, probably people forgot. So in October, new raid came out, new big mission. We did the mission, and there was a special thing that was like, hey, if you do this thing in the first week of release and you actually beat it, which is really hard, then you can get this really nice jacket, this like bomber jacket that's like based around that mission.
Right.
I ordered that jacket, and I was, because we got it done. We got it done on like the last day, and we're talking like we had hours
so you
left
guys,
before.
you guys actually got the mission done.
Yeah.
So the
we
really
got it done.
hard part, you guys did it.
Yes, we got
Awesome.
we got the mission done with only hours to spare on the 1 week mark. We finished it at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. or something like that.
Jeez.
It was brutal.
Oh my God.
People had school the next day, work the next day. It was a rough thing. We got it done, and I ordered that jacket.
Is the jacket here?
I ordered that jacket. I ordered the jacket in October, and it arrives on Thursday.
Oh, okay. So people should go to the Still Recording podcast Instagram account and follow that, so we could maybe show a picture of you holding that jacket, so they can refer to it and listen to the podcast, right?
Yes,
right?
Or my own Instagram, because there will definitely be a post about that, because I've been waiting a very long time for this.
That's pretty awesome, dude. No,
yeah, I'm stoked. It like, between COVID slowing down and like them, because when we ordered the jackets, they were like, hey, it's gonna take like 4 to 6 months. We're on month 9, so that's cool. And finally, I ordered something else from the game publisher's website. I ordered another thing that was like, they had another event that was like, hey, if you do all these things, you get this really cool t-shirt. And I ordered the t-shirt, and immediately it was like, oh, your jacket's on the way. And I'm like, did you send it? Because you're like, well, now he's got 2 things in queue, and we haven't sent anything.
What about the ring? Can you
ring? I haven't ordered the ring. I am decided. I have. Let's try that again.
Okay.
I have decided that I'm going to get the ring. The ring is a. It's like
$150 first off, right?
$125. Yeah.
$125. But okay, so it's a custom ring, sterling silver ring.
Yeah, it's a custom sterling silver ring that is based around all these missions. There's about 5. Well, in the game there's about 9 of them, but it takes a select 5 and says, hey, if during this special event you do all 5 of these missions, then you can get this ring that is based around all these missions. And I'm not a jewelry person. Like, I don't wear my wedding band. Like, I don't wear jewelry at all. But this one I was like, oh, I don't wear jewelry. And then immediately I was like, what if it was a desk ornament, like in an acrylic box?
Yeah, that would be
look really cool.
That would be really classy. I would be totally okay with that, especially because I mean I know the desk behind you is a photo,
right?
But you have like ornaments or trophies to a degree of things that you have earned via games or because you've been to places. So having that on your desk would be kind of cool. Question though, do you have room on your desk?
Oh yeah, I can think of like 6 different spots where it would easily have space. I've cleared out a lot.
Okay, so that ring is that something? That ring and the T-shirt, are those things related to the raids that you guys have been doing just in the past couple of days?
Yes,
Okay.
the T-shirt not so much. The T-shirt's more of an all-encompassing thing, but the ring is definitely like we're trying to bust out because there's 5, right? And so we've done 2 so far. We've got hopefully 1 tomorrow, or Friday, excuse me. We've got another one hopefully on the weekend some point. We're gonna figure out some scheduling on that, but we're gonna try to bust through all of them in time to order the ring because there's a couple of us that are kind of the same mindset of me of like, this would be really cool just to have.
Right. No, like I was never a really good collector of anything. You know, I always felt like there needed to be a utilitarian purpose for things. And then the whole like pop vinyl fad started. And I avoided that for a long time, and then I got a coupon from Kohl's, the department store, that let you use it over and over and over and over again. So I kept buying.
Geez.
I kept buying these $10 Star Wars pop vinyls with a $10 coupon. So what does that add up to? 0. So I basically got $70 worth of pop vinyls to start my collection for free. And
so
then
what was your very first pop vinyl then?
I think it was what's that? What was that? Rogue One. It was one of the Rogue One characters.
There you go.
Yeah, and I believe it was it was like one of the protagonists. Like I honestly can't remember right now. But my point in mentioning all this is I don't have my pop vinyl collection anymore. You know, like
What?
Yeah, like I when I moved out of my ex's house, I'm like, these are all yours. She's like, what am I gonna do with it? I don't know, sell them, figure it out. Like I'm not gonna take them with me. So you can have them, give them to Franklin or Estrella or whatever. So I don't know if she did anything with them or not. I kept one because that was given to me for a birthday gift, and there was like a limited edition Target Stormtrooper that comes in red.
There you go.
That was kind of cool, but for the most part, the only thing that I really collect are like Xbox controllers.
Right.
I have nothing close to what our colleague has over there in Minnesota. I don't think I'll ever get to his level.
Well, unless you reach 100%.
Well, yeah. If we ever reach the 100%, then there's another issue of that.
Monetary issue.
Well, that, but also, I don't mean to foreshadow anything, but are you saying 100% of that style of Xbox One controller is completely dead and gone, and Xbox has moved to a different kind of style of controllers and can't be constituted as an Xbox One controller collection anymore?
Oh, no. I just meant to, because his collection is not missing anything. It's at 100%, right? So,
yeah.
In order to catch up in any way, you'd have to reach 100%.
There's a guy I follow.
It's catching up to a completionist, right?
Yeah. No, there's a guy I follow on Instagram, and I don't generally follow, I generally don't follow fan accounts of like Xbox. I follow Xbox. Like I follow EA for Respawn and Star Wars related, video. I don't follow fan accounts. Is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Not necessarily. But there is one fan of Xbox controllers where he has a good amount of discretionary income to not just buy the retail versions, and not just the Design Lab ones, but also like the super hobbyist, super collector, unique, customized controllers. So he has he has like 10 Elite controllers, but they're all customized. They're all customized differently. One has chrome on it, one is red, one is blue with pink accents or something. But they're all Elite controllers, and they all like, they're not, from what I can tell, they're not like modded. And our one of our friends from Ohio, he mods controllers in the sense that he likes to swap out parts for different controllers. But I mean, that kind of stuff is where I will never get to 100% because you always have those kinds of mods and those kinds of customizations. But in regards to retail versions of the controllers, yes, I would like to be at 100%. I would like to have them all. But
same.
I don't have the room. But then
and B, I don't have the money.
Yeah, exactly. When I asked you if you had room, like I honestly don't have any room. Like I have this controller right here, and I know the green screen kind of screws it up, but this is the I think I've showed this on stream before. This is the Cyberpunk controller. So I have it right here in the box on top of my rig, just sitting there because I have no other place to put it.
You get some wall mounts, put them behind your monitors.
I'm looking to move though, right? Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to go and do like measure all those things, do the wall mounts, put holes in the walls unnecessarily, and then eventually find a house, hopefully sooner than later. And that's another topic that I don't know if we have time to talk about. And then have to remove all the things. I don't know if I want to do that. So one thing I really like about our professional and like personal relationship is that we're fairly logical and talking things out. Like we do that here. I think on the last podcast I talked about how I can confide in you and talk to you away from everybody else and have a real heart to heart with you.
Right.
So I would argue that you and I are not just level-headed, but that we are open-minded, right? And I was recently listening to a podcast, and they were talking about what it really means to be open-minded. And for the majority of the podcast, like I thought to myself, "Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I feel like I'm the quote-unquote poster child of open-mindedness." And then they uttered things like conspiracy theories, and then they moved on from that. And that's where I was like, "Oh, maybe I'm not as open-minded as I thought." Because like if someone on an opposing political side brings up a topic, and if I can have an analytical heart-to-heart with them and really talk to that person, say, why do you believe this? Why does your party believe this? And they can give me...
Why do you believe pineapple belongs on pizza? You're wrong, but I'll hear you out.
Well, that's kind of it. Like, the approach obviously shouldn't be you're wrong. The approach is, before I give you my reasoning, tell me yours. What is your source? What books have you read? What scientists have said this? What political strategists said that is a correct thing to say? And if all of their evidence is anecdotal, then that's when I'm like, okay, well, let me tell you from a factual standpoint of people that have, in my opinion, unbiased people have done the research, why my opinion makes more sense. And maybe we can meet in the middle. Conversations don't need to be who's right, who's wrong, and there is a one winner. They don't have to be like that. But conspiracy theories, that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. Like, so my question to you was, is there, I mean, other than conspiracy theories, I guess that would be my one, but is there any kind of topic where you're not, you're like, you're not open-minded at all? Or maybe not at all, but you're not as open-minded as other topics where you would be more like inclined to, let me hear what you have to say.
I'm at a loss here. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I am. Like, I'm sure I'm pretty stubborn about something. I I'm not much for anecdotal evidence for a lot of things, and we're not just talking politics, we're talking just life, right? I'm very much like, I like facts and I like answers that are based on something and have things to back them up, and people hate that about me because it's like I want like, okay, I want answers for these questions, and they're like, well, can't you just go surface level and be like happy with that? And it's like, no, I can't. I want more. I want more information. I want knowledge.
No, I'm definitely with you on that. I feel like the problem that we have in our current societal nature is that we go too easy on the surface level, that we go too quickly with your gut reaction, and that's how you get involved in like an echo chamber of people also having similar gut reactions. One example would be just yesterday, our governor of California said that no more inside dining, but also no more gyms. Gyms are going to close. Barbershops are going to close. I guess nail salons are going to close. All of those like close quarter kinds of things are going to close. And one of somebody on Facebook posted it, and you just see a slew of impeach the governor, get rid of him,
Oof.
How dare he, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I looked over to my fiance and I said, I mean, this is what you want to look at before you go to bed? She was like, I know, this is just terrible. And I said, I would love to have a conversation with at least one of these people, an intellectual conversation where there's no emotion, there's no heat, there's really no, like, end game. Like, I guess the problem is with the internet is that people continuously want to feel that they are right and that they can convince enough people. I want to feel like I have all the answers. So from my point of view, let me show you facts. Look at 15,000 new cases in a day in Florida, for example. And they had everything was open. Let's not have that happen in California. And so that would be one fact that I have. What fact do you have says that we shouldn't shut down all these things? What fact do you have? And if the fact is, no, it's just BS. Nope, not a fact. Like,
Right.
We're not going to have a conversation. I need you to give me a fact. Tell me a doctor, a certified doctor who has years of study in viral, bacterial, like infections, saying we don't need to close, you don't need masks. I want to talk to that person, and I want to hear them out. Because not everybody knows everything. And yes, we're being told certain things from the WHO, from the CDC. Those are bodies in medical bodies that I don't always necessarily agree with. But if like the common thread is, hey, just do those things, then I'm going to go with them. Why are you opposed? And I can't stand that echo chamber. But when it comes to conspiracy theories, yeah, I completely like exit the room. Like, nope, I'm not even.
It's a hard no.
Yeah. I mean, how do you deal with somebody that has like you're in the room with them,
right? And they have conspiracy theories.
And
change the subject.
You just change the subject.
Change the subject. That is the best option, because you're not, especially those types of people. They're usually like, I don't understand how like your podcast was saying like open mind and conspiracy theories, because it's like you can hear them out, but then like you have to also be open to your conspiracy theory being wrong, and usually those people are pretty like, no, this is what's going on. So yeah, I don't know how that kind of like, I feel like you're open-minded to get to the conspiracy theory, but then once you're there, you're stuck. Like you can't come back from it.
Well, I think they were kind of, and again, it was kind of a throwaway comment about conspiracy theories. They didn't really dive too much into it. But what I took away from it was that if you are going to be truly open-minded, you at least should hear them out. As long as they have like factual data, as long as they have a talk track, as long as they can reference the things that they are talking about, then...
But I'm sure you know people that don't have that are people like maybe in your family or like people that you associate with that are just like, I have this, walnuts are good for your brain because they're shaped like brains. Someone has said that to me. And I'm like, no, like there might be good, vitamins and stuff like that. Like we can talk there, but like walnuts are good. Like, no, this is an honest interaction that happened. Was like, the answer was food that is shaped like body parts is good for that body part. So a walnut is good for your brain.
A kidney bean is good for your kidneys.
And then my father-in-law walks over and says, yeah, that's why I like hot dogs. But yeah, no, it's, that was there's people in my life that like, you just have to change the subject because that like it's not based on anything. You're not going to change their opinion. You're not going to give them facts because some people don't care about the facts.
What if
like they just are like,
that's a great point. They just don't care about the facts. That's so frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you care? So recently I was in a room in which some people were talking about how their high school mascots are having to be changed because they were originally like mascots of Native Americans or American Indians. And at first they were talking about how it is it's offensive. It's offensive. They're saying it's offensive. And the tonality in his voice seemed very genuine. And I was like, yeah, it is offensive. And then I looked over at his face and he had that like whatever kind of look. I'm like, oh, okay. And at the time of this conversation, we were all having something to eat, and
you spat it at him.
I didn't really want to rock the boat all that much, so I didn't say anything. But I also had recently listened to this podcast, so I thought to myself, okay, how can I approach this from an open mind? How can I ask this individual, why do you think it's not offensive? And do I feel this individual will give me a really good response? Not necessarily a response that in line with my point of view, but I'm looking for a response that, again, just like you, is based on facts.
Right.
Is based on evidence, like not just circumstantial evidence, but like actual evidence that somehow says, no, the Native Americans actually like teams being named after them and they celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have evidence of that? Because if you do, cool. If you are just saying, no, they shouldn't change it because it's been like that for decades, then, I mean, I don't want to, pull any kind of, not necessarily the race card, but slavery was cool for a couple of decades. Are you cool with that, then? I again, that's an extreme, right? It's an extreme. I don't want to go to the extreme, but that's the inflammatory, really? That's your argument? Not saying that this guy used that as an argument. He didn't expand on this point at all. I didn't bring it up. I didn't try and talk it out with them.
Right.
But I was talking to myself, trying to think, okay, what would I say if he engaged in a conversation with me? Hey, what do you think about blah blah blah? What would I say? Well, we're calling the Native, American Indians, we're calling them Redskins or Browns. Is that good? Do you think that's okay? Like, I think that would be an easy. Let's not call people by the color of their skin. I think that would be an easy kind of conversation. The I guess issue would be that the name that he's talking about is his high school team were called the Apaches, and that's the Native American, a tribe. I mean,
dude, you could switch it up so easily and be so cool. Just no longer do the Indian type thing. Just switch it to the Apache attack helicopter, and like you have the coolest football or whatever team on the planet.
Actually,
like,
I wonder.
You have the coolest logo instantly. Why is this an issue?
I wonder if they're gonna. I mean, if this is gonna go that far, if they're gonna change the name of the Apache helicopter.
I wouldn't think so. That seems. I don't. Is it based on that?
Well, what do you mean? Is it?
Because I don't know. I legit do not know.
I really don't know. I feel like an Apache is a warrior, Native American warrior, and they were trying to have like from a marketing standpoint, a good name that is like an attack helicopter Apache. And
right.
At the time,
I don't think they'll change it.
Okay.
No, it's the same as like the Utah Utes, like our football team.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
No, I don't think they're going to change because it doesn't seem like for one, like the whole thing is that like there's some, I don't know. Again, I don't know because I'm talking out my butt here, but as far as I know, like there is a huge like correlation between the Utah Utes tribe and then the Utah Utes football team. Like there's some sort of like correlation there, and they're not like, it's not a derogatory term. That's what they're called, right? Not. We're not trying to be rude here. So I'd imagine it follows the same line of reasoning of like, no, Apache is warrior, and we're just saying warrior helicopter. Yeah, I don't see how, like if it was like Redskin attack helicopter, I could see a problem there.
Yeah.
But like Apache helicopter, I don't. Yeah. Again, as long as that's okay, which again, not going to get into because I don't know, but like you have the coolest logo ever. You have an attack helicopter. How are you complaining? You have to switch to the attack helicopter. I'd be like, cool. Where's the like person that prints the t-shirts? Because let's get this going. Like this is gonna be awesome. Does this mean that the school gets its own Apache helicopter? It should. Also, we need to fly over the pitch or whatever it's called. We need to fly over the court and fly over and show the Apache helicopter flex on the other team.
With the Apache helicopter too, like with every team, you get a team mascot. So is your team mascot going to be a guy in an Apache helicopter like costume?
No, it's the actual helicopter flying over the field.
Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
It's the actual helicopter that just kind of like buzzes the other team.
That's got to be one of the most expensive mascots ever.
Hey, you got to spend money to make money.
It's a high school team. I don't know if they're making any money at all. Public school, for that matter. But I mean to circumvent what we're talking about here, and that's where I like to think that I have an open mind, but I realize, again, talking about conspiracy theories, that's where I don't have an open mind, and it's more because I just don't want to get into that conversation of somebody who is going to give me crypto theories about certain things, and it's like no matter what facts that I have to base on a crypto theory or a theory that is not necessarily proven, but it's also not necessarily disproven. Like how do you fight against that with pure science and historical data? You can, and you also can't. And I mean, it's kind of like why I stopped watching those shows on like A&E and the History Channel, where they talk about like aliens and stuff. Not going to get into that conversation here, but I feel like that is an extreme kind of echo chamber where I'm listening to the guy with the crazy hair talk about all these facts that he has, but if you really dissect the things that he's talking about, it's really coming out to, well, this guy told this other guy, and I think this guy knows the thing about the guy, so this is what I'm going to say. I'm like, okay, that's not facts, though. That's not facts. I mean, and also, like, pictures on the wall depicting certain things. Sorry, not really a fact. You know, if you have a chronicler, someone that is writing things down, and the things that he's written down has also been proven in other mediums, maybe through paintings and stuff, then you could say, okay, those things make sense, these things make sense, and these things make sense. Over here, he mentions a weird light coming from the sky. Maybe that's a thing that makes sense, and that's a real thing that we should think about. But until you show me that, it's just a bedtime story.
Of him being abducted, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. And probed. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you're watching here live on twitch.tv/LazyTechTony, you can check our schedule down below if you want to watch us live. Or if we should have our own channel for this show, let us know for analytics and all that. But for you, Quinnton, where can people find you?
On Instagram, Twitch, everything pretty much at Firewall.
As for me, you can find me in those places under Lazy Tech Tony. You can follow the both of us on Instagram under Still Recording Podcast. We also have a Reddit, subreddit, r/Still Recording. And if you want to leave us a comment or message, you can do that at anchor.fm/Still Recording. And also, so many different links, I realize, but we want to say this. If you can leave us a review on Apple iTunes, that actually does help us quite a bit. Not just on iTunes Podcast or Apple Podcast, but for all the podcast catchers. So thank you in advance. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Heart.